just that way. All right. So keep in mind with this that this is a lot for you guys. So the whole purpose of this is to ask questions. Any questions you've got, any comments, any concerns, any, hey, have we thought about doing this? Oh, no, we haven't. Let's get that, arranged real quick. This is for you guys, total 100% participation. We already know what's going on, so we want you guys to know what's going on. So just keep that in mind. Anything comes up, just shout it out, raise your hand, whatever. So, we've got some new people here, new licensees, and some people just kind of getting back into the hobby too. So one question that came up before we got started was, what exactly is Field Day? So ARRL Field Day was designed basically to show preparedness in the sense of disasters. So how can somebody get out if a tornado comes, levels a building down that had the station in it? How fast can somebody get out there, get an antenna thrown in a tree, get a station set up, get a tent over it for rain? How fast can they be up and operating on the air? Now, it's grown into many facets in the last 20, 30 years, where some people operate out of their homes, some people operate in the field like what we're going to be doing. So there's kind of a whole accumulation of different ways that people do it, and that's why there's now different classes. So the general purpose is it's designed to show that amateur radio operators can deploy in a field after disaster, and here's how quickly we can do it and how successful we can be in doing it, which then brings us into the contest side of Field Day, is that even though it's a public event to show preparedness for disasters and all that, it's also a contest. So we go out and see how many contacts we can make with the field set up, just throwing the antenna in the air kind of thing, and who can get the most contacts. And hopefully W0EBE, which of course is our club call sign for those that didn't know, wins this year. So that's the goal.
At least in Missouri.
Yeah, at least in Missouri. So any questions about Field Day, what it is, why we do it, or just any high-level details about the event? So we are operating as a 3A, which means we're going to have 3 primary stations. That means that you're going to have 3 radios sitting there that you can sit down and talk on. We also have what's called a go-to station, a get-on-the-air station. That is going to be run by 89SS, who is going to be our go-to captain. And we also have, included in the rules, you get a free VHF station. So we're actually going to have a 5th radio set up that is a free VHF. But officially, it's 3 stations doing the primary contest, and that's why we're classified as a 3. And then the A comes into the fact that we are an organization running on emergency power. There's also class B, C, D, E, F, I think it's F or G, something like that, that you get into the stuff that they've added in the last 30, 40, 50 years of people who are non-club or non-organization members. I think they're a B class. And then you get into people who just use their home station, not running on emergency power, EOCs, stuff like that. So there's a bunch of classifications, and if anybody has any questions about those, you can ask that or look up on ARRL's Field Day event page. So, but we are 3A, and so that gives us plenty of opportunity for everybody to get out and get on the air and make some contacts. So, good question.
What other question on that one? After it's going to be doing digital, or not digital, but that's 2 things. Robert will be doing digital. Does that count? And Patrick will be doing more.
So, basically the way that it rules out this year is, in years past, we've had issues really calculating our contacts to figure out what we've done. In some years, at some points in time, we were a 1A because only 1 radio was on, and then all of a sudden we were 6A for a couple of hours because we had 6 radios simultaneously going. So in order for us to actually be a 3A classification, get as many points as we can, and have it an official, we can guarantee this is correct, we have coordinated stations. So we have 3 coordinated stations plus the GOTA and the VHF. Those are the only 5 radios that will be operating as W0EBE. Anybody else that wants to come out for Field Day, set their own radio up, set their own antennas up, absolutely welcome to do that. We encourage that. We want you to do it. Some people operate QRP, some people just come and do it for fun, but anybody outside of those 5 radios will be doing it with their own call sign, and they will not count towards the club's contest. And that's mainly because years past we've had issues where we had an amplifier going on here, and then somebody else was trying to be on the same band, so this year it's all coordinated. Different radios are on different bands, we have the filters, we have everything coordinated to not interrupt with each other. But if you bring your own radio, just keep in mind, if you get walked on because you're on a band with an amplifier, it's just part of the coordinated station thing. So
now, one thing we would want to say is if you
signed up and you brought like your own key and you do want to do CW, you could plug right into one of those rigs at your time slot.
Absolutely.
And go, and then that would be towards the club. There's no rules saying what what you're going to use. Just keep in mind that the equipment that's going to be set up is going to be ready to go for either logging, or it's also going to be set up for either digital. We've got that already in play. You just may not be using your own equipment, but at least we'll have that set up where it'll log all of that information, and then we'll get it done correctly.
Yeah, so we have a station, one of the 3 primary stations will have digital, so if you want to run FT8, PSK31, just anything you want to run, it'll be set up, and it'll count. We'll unplug the power, let it run on battery so it's official and everything. If you have a keyer that you want to bring, I believe all of the primary 3 stations have just normal 1/4-inch keyers. They can accept either the mono or the 3 contact, so either one you have. If you have a iambic or anything like that, we can change the radio setting real quick, and you can be off and running with your own keyer, because it's obviously a personal thing if you want to use your own. So all the stations have HIA mics. I think the primary 3 have PR781s, so they're going to be good quality mics. If you want to use headphones, we tell you to bring your own headphones. Nobody likes to go in and change in and out 50 people, with a headset, and then you're worried about all kinds of hygiene and stuff like that. So we have good mics on a boom with foot pedals, hand switches, and if you want to operate like a headset, bring a pair of headphones and plug them right in, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So, did that answer the 2 questions you had? Perfect. All right. Sometimes I get off on a little tangent with stuff. So, all right.
GOTA does not run under W0 EBE.
That's correct.
The log is completely separate. There's no, if you guys work somebody, we can work somebody too, because
Right.
it's a separate thing.
Yeah, so that's a good point. 89SS is going to be the call sign we use for the GOTA station. Those still count as points, so the contacts still count as points. We get bonus points for the GOTA station, all that kind of stuff. We'll be using a different call sign, but it's still part of the coordinated effort. But you're right, it's not
Should I go over who can use it?
Yes, that would be a good opportunity. So go to Captain. Any questions about that specifically? But why don't you give us a high-level overview of what that's
I
about?
can go up there too. You want me to go up there?
Sure.
Okay.
Make your appearance on the internet.
Yep. So I'm Alpha Echo 9, here, Connor. Also going to be Lumina eventually, but it's a whole story. I'm doing the GOTA station, so that means I'm going to be there basically at all times if someone wants to use it. The GOTA station is called the Get on the Air station. It's basically for people to come and use a radio if they haven't before. So the rules are kind of lenient, but I basically decided on that if you're not licensed, you can use it. If you're a technician, you can use it. And then there's also a ruling that if you are an inactive license, they call it, then you can use it. So I basically decided that if you don't have a station at home, then you can use the GOTA station. Like for example, I don't have a station at home. I haven't even touched the HF radio since like January. So even I would count as someone who could use it. And I felt like that was fair enough. Would you agree, Jordan?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to look at it just to make sure. I think you cannot have operated HF since the last field day. So I think you may have to have a year rotation in there, but it's right around there close. So if you don't have an HF station at home, you haven't been on since the last field day last June, then you're counted as an inoperative person. So you would be counted for the
I
GOTA.
don't believe it's that specific, but
Yeah.
I'll look at it again.
We'll check to make sure, but basically, if you haven't had one in at least the last year, you're good, and we'll check to make sure on the rule for what the exact time is.
Okay. So that's that.
Hey, Jordan, 3 questions. I'll move into one. One, this is being streamed. Can they hear what our questions are? If you
So-
just give an answer, they won't know what the question is.
Yeah, Rodney is
So
taking care of that.
I'm trying to run the questions right now over
Okay.
the.
Yeah.
Okay, logistically, chair, drink, food.
So that's a good question. Anybody have a GOTA question before
Yeah.
we move on? Anything?
It's limited to 100 watts at the moment.
It's going to be fun. Bring kids, grandkids, cousins, anybody that just doesn't even know what amateur radio is, even if they don't want to go get their license, just bring them out. Let's get some points and have a good fun Saturday afternoon and do something they've never done before. So
Again, kids on the air, they get a lot of calls back to them.
yeah, anybody under the age of 18, they also get bonus points for it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
So your question then was related to food, drink, so on and so want to touch on that. We do want to touch on that because Regina happens to be our go-to cook.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that she is aware of
So-
what's happening in that respect.
We have that coordinated, so just for information on the food, let's start out with. So setup time is going to be basically from 10 a.m. to noon on site on Saturday morning. We are going to be providing lunch, which is basically just going to be hot dogs and chips, to the people setting up. We're not going to do a public lunch, it's just for the people setting up. We will be doing a public dinner for anybody that steps by. We're going to have most likely a small bratwurst, kind of a upgraded hot dog, I guess you call it, with the cheese and everything in it, and barbecue chicken. So that's going to be the primary meat that is provided by the club. Regina is still going to be doing the cooking on everything. We're also going to have homemade ice cream going on as well. We're going to have chocolate and vanilla, or just chocolate?
Lewis?
We can do both, I guess. We
Okay.
got two reasons.
All right.
Depends on how many people show up, how hard I work at it.
Hey, understandable. So yeah, so probably both, but at the very least we'll have one or the other. So that's going to be provided. There's no fee to pay for dinner or anything like that. We will be taking donations just to help with the offset of the cost, but absolutely don't feel that it's necessary. So that's going to be that. We are still doing the same style potluck that we always do. Is we're going to be providing the meat, but we ask anybody that's an active club member, stuff like that, bring a side dish, stuff like that. Or myself, Rodney, we're all going to be bringing something. So even if you don't, we'll have it filled out, but dinner will be provided. As far as chairs and all that kind of stuff, so we will be having all the station equipment under tents. We'll also have a couple tents that have public information. We're going to try to put on a little class with some soldering stuff, all that kind of stuff. But if you want to come and stay the night, or stay at least late enough that maybe your spouse wants to, hit the hay for a little while, that kind of thing, bring your own tents. There's going to be plenty of space to set up your own camping tents. You can set up pretty much anything you want to, except for you can't make your own campfire pit where your tent is. It's going to have to just be the communal campfire pit, which is there in the area. So we recommend bringing chairs. The stations will have chairs, so if you're going to work a station, chairs are already there. So if you just want to sit around the campfire, sit around a group of people, just jabbing back and forth, bring your own chair. So it's pretty much the same basic stuff as most of the events we do, but it's a good question to ask. Did that answer the second
Yeah,
one?
but drink, if you want some water throughout the day, just bring your own.
No, we'll be providing water. Usually we do water, and we also have something that is a little bit of electrolyte rich. So if somebody gets a little overworked, something like that, we will be providing ice water, stuff like that. If you want anything like soda, tea, anything like that, you're on your own to bring that. And it is an alcohol-free event. It's family friendly. So
There is alcohol available in the.
there is alcohol available in the Sons of the American Legion Hall, but I believe we're pretty much in agreement that the point is that the alcohol would stay in there, so you can go in there and
Yeah,
enjoy
it's,
a
you can't
beverage.
take it out.
Yeah, you can't take it out and bring it to where the stations are. So, do you have any other questions on any of that? Okay.
Okay, just to make sure I'm understanding something. Am I going to be running the digital station?
So we don't have a station that is designated as digital only. We have a station of one of the three primaries that is capable of doing digital.
Okay, so my rig is not going to be a primary rig?
Correct. It's the three rigs that we already have set up, plus the GOTA, plus the VHF. So everybody, like I said, is
Unless we have nobody to operate that
yeah.
particular station, he could take it over.
Yeah, you can take over, but you'd still be using the equipment that's already set up. Like, we're not going to want to sit there and switch out radios and all that kind of stuff unless it's...
Okay, so there's no reason for me to bring my equipment?
Yeah, if you want to come and just operate under Whiskey Zero Echo Bravo Echo and just get points for the club, yeah, nobody needs to bring any extra equipment. But we want to make sure that everybody is welcome to bring their own. So if you just want to set up and work some digital with your own call sign or do some stuff...
I haven't been in club meetings, so I've been operating under the theory of running like last year, and my equipment was used as the digital station. So
Right.
I've been busting my butt trying to get my station up and going, because I was pushing over to Linux and FLDigi, and I've just now figured out I don't need to waste my time.
Yeah, and that's definitely our fault. We apologize for any miscommunication. We kind of set this stuff up in January with the idea that we were going to move forward with Field Day as a pretty hard-hitting event. We were going to not only try to reach out to the public even more than we have in the past, but we were going to go and do the contest a little more seriously than we ever have in the past. So with that, we have coordinated stations that everything's tested, everything is over at my house right now, all hooked up, everything's been tested, filtering, everything's ready to go. So definitely our fault on that. We apologize we didn't get that information to you, but that is correct. The stations that will be running Whiskey Zero Echo Bravo Echo have already been coordinated and are ready to go. So we don't need that you have set up, but if you want to bring it and run your own call sign, absolutely welcome to.
Well, as much as it was going to cost me to get everything out here and do the plans, it might not even be worth the effort to show up.
Okay. Well, we hope you do. We absolutely want you to be there to operate the stations, and anybody that wants to bring your equipment, anything, you can still run your own call sign. There is RV parking there as well, because I know several people have RVs. There's electric and RV parking. But as far as anything goes, you are right. We've got all the coordinated stations ready to go. So. But we hope you show up. Absolutely. Is there any other questions? So restrooms, that's a good thing. So during most of the day and evening time, there are restrooms available inside the actual Sons of the American Legion Lodge Hall. When it comes to whenever they close, basically, there are porta potties on site that will be used and maintained by Sons of the American Legion, and those are being allowed to be used by us with no charge. So we absolutely thank them as well for letting us do that, because those surprisingly are a very expensive thing to get going. They're like $100, $110 for the weekend to get set up, and our budget for the entire field day, including prices, is $400. So we're glad we don't have to do that this year. So.
I could assume when you arrive on the work park.
Yes, so parking there is fairly self-explanatory. We will have a map on the website that we'll bring up to kind of show you the area where the parking is going to be, just in case there's any questions on it. Once you come off of Scenic, there's a single driveway going in. You'll see the American Legion, Sons of the American Legion building on the left, and the submarine top, conning tower. On the right-hand side, you'll continue to go, and basically it's just a big parking lot, and you can park anywhere. The only thing we are asking is that park furthest away from the building that you can. We're going to be working our way back, just because the people that go to the lodge for, just their Saturday night, hanging out with friends, we still want them to be able to park close to the building. A lot of them are disabled, so it's self-explanatory. Just start from the back and work your way forward. But we'll have a map on Facebook too. So. Yeah.
I haven't been here, so I don't know what all the plans are. I have a 7,000 watt generator.
You do. You're my new best friend.
I was wondering if you want me to bring it?
Let's get together after this and go over it. We are not stressed for generators, but we did come up with a couple of things during testing today that it wouldn't hurt to have one if it's not difficult to bring. What's that?
Dave said I want to start out from 7,000.
Okay, yeah, let's definitely get together on that because I don't think it would be a bad idea to have one, even if it's just a standby unit for the moment. I just don't want you to bring it out if it's going to be a standby, if it's going to take, got to load on a trailer.
I have one with a ladder.
Hey, perfect.
I'm not carrying it nowhere.
So yeah, let's get together after, but yes, if you want to bring that, at the very least, we can have that as a standby. So, any other questions?
I haven't seen anything come up online.
So this one is going to be a really good event this year. Everybody's always enjoyed Field Day in the past. We've always had a lot of fun. This year, we're going to keep that same spirit, same fun, same public aspect that is in a location that's a little bit better for the public this year. But we're also kind of excited to really be going at it as a contest, too. We're really going to try hard to get as many contacts as we can. So anybody that wants to come out and operate the radio, the more the merrier. We've got plenty of mics, plenty of radios to go around. We just need people. So I know we talked last meeting about this a little bit. We've got a sign-up sheet up here. Looks like we've had a couple people sign up. If you need to come out, you're not sure if you're going to make it next weekend, that kind of thing, totally understand. You don't have to sign up. You're still going to be able to go and operate the radios without pre-signing up or anything like that. But if you can pre-sign up because you know you're going to be there, it's going to help us a little bit to at least know where we need people, because we're going to try to keep it manned the entire time, all radios. So if you can't sign up, great.
What time does it actually go on the air?
So we are going to be going on the air at noon on Saturday the 22nd, and we are going to be going until at least noon on the next day, Sunday. it can be a 24 or 27-hour event without getting into a whole lot of boring details. We're not sure whether we're going to do the 24, the 27 yet, because if you do the 27, you only have 2 hours to set up. But we kind of want to set up the night before because we're also going to be doing our 10-meter, 2-meter net from that location, which means we already kind of need the antennas and radio equipment set up. So if we do that, we're locked down to a 24-hour event. That's probably the way it's going to go. So I would say noon on Sunday is the plan, but we could go up until 3 p.m. But I would say Saturday would be the day and overnight that really is going to be a lot of fun because everything kind of starts to fizzle out a little bit towards the end.
When are you setting up? Friday?
Friday evening, probably around 5 o'clock. So everybody remembers, or let me rephrase that. Just so everybody knows, there is kind of the welcome dinner Friday night. We still need to get a couple details on that. We don't know what the menu is yet, but basically Friday night, the Sons of the American Legion Hall, they have a dinner every Friday. You come, it's usually $10 to $15. Big kind of full course meal style thing. It's just us at the Southwest Missouri Amateur Radio Club and the Sons of the American Legion getting together, mingling, talking about radio. There's a lot of guys over there that are interested in radio. They did it in the military. They didn't quite get into amateur radio when they got into the civilian side. So there's going to be a lot of mingling, and we're also in that process going to be doing the basic setup and running the 10 and 2-meter net from that location that night. So it'll be kind of a fun get-together thing. Now, the one thing that may happen is that everybody goes, and when we get on the net, nobody's at home on their radio. That's a good problem to have, so nobody worry about doing that. Come out Friday night and join us. So.
We got handhelds.
Yeah, we got handhelds, we can talk to each other, and just do a simplex version.
So as long as everybody understands, so last year we set the tents and everything up in the morning. And there was a lot of confusion, we were running out of time just to get our radios going. And by the time we got our radios going, it was 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So what we're going to do, my understanding, because I'm obviously not going to be there Friday evening, but we're going to have the tents already set. Everything's going to be ready to go. It's just a matter of getting the radios up and going. So that's what you're going to be helping us with when you come in to help get the radios going, get everything hooked up, and then that's where then we'll feed you, of course, for doing that.
Yeah.
So, because we're going to have a lot of equipment to work with. So we'll need people to help us truck them back and forth and everything else that goes along with it. Got a 5,000. I mean, that thing's heavy in itself. So, yeah. You're probably going to be the one carrying it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do have a lot of equipment that we will be unloading, so we need some help with that.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, like if you get up Saturday morning, you're like, well, I don't really know if they need my help. They were going to set some of it up on Friday, and I haven't been keeping up with it this week. Send us a message on Facebook, call us, whatever you got to do. Say, hey, you need some help still this morning. Yeah, come on out, have some hot dogs, and help us get set up, that kind of thing.
Try to post also.
Yeah.
Have additional.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much gotten everything wrapped up, but, the last minute, if it rains Friday night, we're not going to do anything until Saturday morning, and then we'll need a bunch of people on deck for 2 hours. So we'll keep you up to date on Facebook and on the smart.org webpage. But I would just say anybody that wants to come out on Saturday morning, even if there's not a whole lot of help that's needed, just come on out. It's a good time anyway. We'll give you some hot dogs. It'll be a good old time. So.
Come to the graveyard shift at 5 a.m. No one will be around on Sunday.
Okay, so
Like seriously.
last year,
Sunday morning, dude.
here's the reason we kind of also did some coordinated stations. So this was a 24 to 27-hour event. It's a contest the whole time. What we kind of ran into in years past is that there's a lot of stuff that goes on for 5 or 6 hours on Saturday, and then everybody kind of packs up, goes home. There's a couple people that stays overnight, and the problem with it is we can't do the show that way. We can't do other stations that way. We need the whole gamut of the whole time. So that's why we've done the coordinated stations, and now we just have to man them. Last year, it was me and Rodney at about 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning after the sun came out. I was high off of gummies to get sugar in my system to keep going.
And I was dealing with a kidney stone.
He was sitting there, talking like Whiskey Zero Echo Bravo Echo QRZ, and he'd go, "Oh, yeah, I heard you fine." So we had a good time, but it was the two of us. Everybody kind of conked out. So we really need people. If you're kind of an early riser, you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get some coffee and have some breakfast, and that's when you start your day. Come out on Sunday, because that's when we need people. I would like to take a nap this year.
Best thing about field day last year was the people who came at 5 a.m. with donuts.
Oh, yes. Krispy Kreme with chocolate glaze, just in case anybody has.
For me, they're saviors.
Hertz is good too.
Yeah, yeah.
Hertz done it.
So, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, and I hate to keep saying the same thing, but really, at the end of the day, the field day committee's done a lot of work, and what we really need now is people sitting in the chairs talking on the radios. That's what we need, it's what we've got to have to make this work. So, come and help us out with all the planning that we've done and everything like that by sitting down and talking on the radio. That's why we're all here anyway. So,
Don't waste your time to sign up, because we're probably gonna contact Bob Heil to see if we can get his buddies in.
that's true. So, you know, we still want signups and stuff like that, but Bob is going to try to come this year. So, if nobody's had a chance to actually meet Bob Heil in the past, he's a official / honorary member of the Southwest Missouri Amateur Radio Club. When he
For the guy
does,
with the purple shoes.
yeah,
Yes.
when he does club stuff, this is who he basically affiliates with when it comes to a local club. So he's donated a little bit of equipment to us. He's going to try to be there and operate this year. He'll probably have some buddies with him this year too. So if you haven't gotten a chance to meet him, he's an encyclopedia of knowledge. He'll tell you about the Eagles and just all kinds of stuff that he's done. If anybody, is there anybody that doesn't really know who Bob Heil is? So Heil microphones, the PR781 is the number that everybody always throwing out. This Heil boom, the microphone over there, that's Bob Heil. That's his company. He did work in the 70s and 80s with a bunch of different rock bands. The Eagles was a primary one with Joe Walsh.
He was pretty much the first person who came along and said, okay, for these big concerts, we don't need these little small speakers. We need these huge multi-speakers.
Most of the 70s and 80s big rock shows that had the big speakers that were the towers coming up, that was a Bob design. That was him. He was sitting there with the Eagles, Peter Frampton, the talk box. I mean, that's Bob Heil. That's where it came from. So really,
if I'm not mistaken, he is the only manufacturer that has a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I believe so. I believe that's correct. So very down-to-earth guy, very nice to talk to. Stories out the wazoo, and he sits down and talks on the radio because he enjoys it. He's a ham like us, which so is Bill Walsh actually, but he couldn't get him. So.
Yeah, I think I've heard Bob say he got his license originally when he was either 14 or 16. He's been doing it ever since, and he calls that his college education.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing that some people turn this hobby into is they learn it and they learn all the component level and everything, and that's how a lot of engineers have gotten their start as amateur radio when they were teenagers. So.
You know when it's going to be there?
No, usually it's probably Saturday afternoon, early evening is when he usually shows up. Last year he couldn't do it. I think he was in Illinois last year and he couldn't get to it. So he's also a big component in the Route 66 on the air. So we're talking about field day, not to get into a whole other event, but here in a couple months we also have Route 66 on the air, which is a week-long contest that we usually try to still set up. Last year we did it at my house, did a barbecue, all that kind of stuff. It's a week-long contest, and Bob and his friends are very, very big into that.
He was the one that got Springfield into it.
Yeah.
We were non-amateur.
Yeah.
I think efforts had been tried to get into it, and there was resistance, and then Bob said, I'd like for this to happen.
Yeah. W6R, Whiskey 6 Radio is our call sign for the Route 66 on the air. So if you've ever seen that in a list, and it's usually fairly high up there on the Route 66, that's us. That's
last year, if I remember, I think we were either
I think
third or
second. Pretty sure we were second last year. We got beat by somebody in Arizona, if I remember right. We were very, very close. That's also because Bob's at his house up in Pleasant Hope, Pleasant Ridge. I don't know why I keep saying that. Doing a lot of contacts. So.
There's something updated on their site yet of monitoring it. It's pretty much just going to go over what we had last year with contacts and everything. And I'll just keep watching it and see what happens.
Okay.
Oh, Whiskey 6R.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or
Route 6R, yeah.
They've got their, where you send the information, things like that.
Right.
None of that's been updated. It's all the same as last year, but they got a schedule.
Yeah.
On their calendar.
Yeah, and Bob will take care of making sure W6R is all taken care of, and we'll be good. So, but that's a whole other event. We'll start talking about that next month. Yeah. Which, by the way, just so everybody knows, Q3 Tech Day is July 27th. So we have the meeting the week before, and then the next week after that, on a Saturday, like always, is the next Tech Day. So we've already gotten the whole list of people coming with different projects and stuff they're going to bring and put on the workbench and all that. It's always a good time. We go from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., usually midnight or 1. So if you need your radios, help programming your radios, understand exactly what code plugs are, just got questions about how radios work, all that kind of stuff. Tech day, that's the day for you. So, but any more questions on field day?
Do you have the logs figured out where you get different points for different types of contacts?
Yes. So basically everything that's going to happen this year is going to be a point multiplier of 1. So every contact you get is going to be a point multiplier of 1. There are some stations that get point multipliers of 2 or 3 because QRP or lower power or stuff like that, but because of the power running, we're doing a multiplier of 1. And you have a couple of different categories that count for more. So the GOTA station has most of those categories. People under 18, people who don't have licenses or inactive licenses, those are all bonus points. Satellite contacts are all bonus points. There's a bunch of little categories that we can get up to a certain amount in. We've got all that figured out. We've got different people directed them. He's going to try a satellite. He's also doing the GOTA.
You get to do one, and you get bonus points.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
CW and digital is worth more though, even on the main station.
Right. So CW and digital are going to be worth, I believe, 2 and 3 respectively, or
I think
3 and
it's
2
2.
respectively. Is it 2? Okay. So anybody that wants to run digital or CW is going to help us out a lot. So bring your keyers. We've got the station set up for digital, so PSK 31, FT8, anything, whatever your favorite, whatever your poison is going to work for that. So we'll be able to do anything you want, and it's going to help us out. So.
And we're also going to have like 1 or 2 public officials show up.
Yes, we should have a state representative show up, and we'll also have somebody, just police officer from the PO stop by. Those are also bonus points. There's a lot of bonus points in these things that we're really attacking this year to try to get as many points as we can. So, Judith.
For those who maybe haven't been on the radio a lot before or haven't been in contact a lot before, why don't you just walk through what is this and what it's saying?
Okay.
What are they saying? What?
That's a good question because we found over the years that most of the time a lot of people don't sit down because they're not sure what to do. They don't want to feel embarrassed about it. When you get to 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of just sludge coming out of the mouths anyway. But basically, what it happens is you either go out and call CQ for somebody to come back to you, or you answer somebody's CQ. If you answer somebody's CQ, they'll give you their call sign, and they'll give you what's called an identifier for this contest. In this case, our identifier is going to be 3A Missouri, because we're a 3A station and we're from Missouri. That's our territory. That's our grid for this contest. So they may give you a 2A, California, 2A Wisconsin, just anything like that. Some of them are a little weird. We'll get into all those. But anyway, they'll basically give you a station class and what their identifier is. Then you'll respond back to them with the call sign Whiskey 0 Echo Bravo Echo, and then our classification, which is 3 Missouri. So you'll exchange basically those 2 pieces of information. A lot of times there's signal reports that they give, hey, you sound good, 10 over S9, that kind of thing. None of that's really needed for this particular contest, but you just kind of go back and forth with that, and you say, hey, I've got your information, I appreciate it, good luck in the contest, and then pass it back over to them. It gets a little confusing with who's calling or who's answering, so as that happens, we'll sit down with you and show you. We're not going to give you the chair and say, hey, good luck, get us some contacts, and then walk away from you. We're going to have myself, Rodney, several people walking around. We'll show you how to do it. We'll sit down beside you for 10, 15 minutes and show you exactly what to do, whether you call CQ or just answer one. And it's a lot of fun. So I know that was kind of muddled, but it's kind of hard to go over the exacts. Yeah. Yeah, and this, I guess the best way to sum it up is this is not a 15-minute long conversation where you're exchanging signal reports and you're 15 dB over and what antenna are you running, what radio are you running, stuff like that. This is a very quick thing. It's a contest. So you exchange a couple pieces of information. Most contacts are usually 10 seconds long. So when we have a pileup, which is what we had last year several times, basically we say this is W0 EBE QRZ. That basically means I'm calling out a CQ that I've already done and I want more people to come back. So we'll get a station calling in. You'll get 10, 20 of them sometimes calling out. You just pick the strongest one, say Whiskey 0 Echo Bravo Echo to N0RK, go ahead, and then N0RK will come in and say, hey, this is 3A Missouri. hey, good to hear you, 3A Missouri, this is 4A Connecticut, good luck on the contest. They say U273, and you're back to W0EBE QRZ. You just do that over and over and over.
So we've got laminated cards that has ours too.
Yes, so you won't have to memorize that. I did that last year. Every time I was writing down logs, I would write the 3AMO over because it was the first time I had ever done field day, and I had to write that every time because I forget it. So we'll have a laminated card sitting there, so if you're on the air and you say, okay, I call back to this guy, what do I say? Whiskey 0 Echo Bravo Echo, 3A Missouri. That's the only info you need.
You're gonna have the map because, like you were saying, California. There's like in like Texas. There's like different ones.
Yeah.
And
They know what they are, they're gonna say, this is California, Southern California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to type it into the computer, like.
And
You'll type
don't-
it in the computer as they tell you.
Right.
Yes, I know, but you
South
have to
Texas.
be aware that South Texas has STX or whatever.
Yeah, and
There's
we'll
more
help you
states.
with all that. The logging, when you sit down, if you've never been on the radio or you don't do it that often, we're gonna have somebody doing the logging for you. Don't worry about it. Just sit down and get your voice on the air. We'll help you with the logging and all that, and we'll be right there in case anything happens. And you know, if you get to the point where it's like, hey, I've got this. I'm gonna do this another hour. Walk away and let you go for an hour. So, no problem. There will be plenty of people there. You're not gonna be on your own, and there's gonna be half the people there are new and have never done it before. So don't let that ever make you feel like, I don't want to get embarrassed sitting behind the microphone. This is a good opportunity where if you do make a mistake, there's going to be 1,000 more contacts in the next hour.
There's a lot of folks doing it on the air too, that this is their first time.
Yeah.
So,
And there's a lot of kids. I mean, kids get on and do this that go to station under 18 is bonus points. So you're going to get contacts that are, 8-year-old girls that are getting on there, sitting on their dad's lap, wanting to make a contact.
See, I can't remember if it was field day or if it was Route 66 on the air. I think one time we had like 5 or 6 kids from like a class.
Oh yeah.
Just all kind of
Yeah.
one right after another.
Yeah.
And like I said, the biggest thing is we need your help to get your friends and family engaged in this. They know you're a ham radio operator, but if you have Facebook, if you have Twitter, if you have just access to email, it doesn't matter. Word of mouth. We want to get as much involvement with the public with this as we can.
Yeah.
So don't keep it to yourself and say, oh, well, it's just going to be us. We want it to be open to the public during that time frame. So we'll share it on Facebook. You'll hear a lot about it over the net that we have and different things like that. So definitely share it with your friends and family.
Yeah, and there should be plenty of activities there for families too. So there's always spouses sitting around and talking, and we're going to have some games there, some horseshoes, stuff like that, just basic stuff. I mean, it's not just a couple radios set up and that's it. It's kind of an event. So bring the whole family. There's a lot of people that stay in tents. Several people bring their RVs out. It's just kind of make a whole weekend of it.
You got a question?
Will you have internet out there? Can you access QRZ?
So the coordinated stations that are out there will have internet access. You can access QRZ. Like, we're not going to lock it down and say, if you just talk to somebody that's like, I think that was Peter Frampton or maybe that was Tim Allen or something like that. It'll have internet. You can get on and go to QRZ. We're trying not to really say that too much because we don't want people pulling up YouTube and all that to use the data. But yes, there will be internet, and M1MM is the logger we use. That's the favorite for all contests most of the time is M1MM, and it will pull all that information automatically. So as you type somebody's call sign in to the logger and you hit the tab to go down for the information, it'll auto-populate all their information. So
Not always though.
not always, but most of the time.
And also one more thing, just so that there's not maybe some confusion. We're not going to have Wi-Fi set up.
No.
That's going to be Wi-Fi.
There will not be public Wi-Fi. If you want to use internet for just sitting out there, kids watching movies on the tablet, that is 100% up to you. But we'll have internet for the coordinated stations for QRZ.
and Canada is involved. Canada's doing their field day same time, so you're going to hear VE calls.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I mean,
VA and
there's also DX calls too that you can put in the log that get a little iffy on whether they count, but most of the time they do. So don't not call back to them. But yeah.
Their login program has a clock in it.
Yes, it's got a clock on it. Yeah, we can set it to sync with like ntp.org or something like that, right? Yeah. So they should all match. And actually,
That's what I'm saying, when you log it next fall.
Yes.
Or next time,
It'll do everything you need for this contest automatically. All you have to do is put the call sign in, and then put whatever identifier they give, so 3AMO or whatever the identifier is. It'll automatically put the band and the time in there for all of it. So it's a very, very easy system, much better than the paper way that we had to do it years past. So it's going to be a lot easier to deal with, because at the end of the day, we'll pretty much just, format it a little bit and send it on. Yeah.
It's a digital log.
Yeah.
So anytime that someone makes a contact, it syncs. So when you type in the call sign, it shows all the other contacts that was made. So if Jordan gets somebody on 40 meters and you hear him on 20, it shows you that you already worked them on a different band and everything. It does it all.
It's neat. And if does it automatically delete it out? Like if you make a double, will it just not put it in there for you?
It doesn't matter, yeah.
It'll
It just says
that
dupe.
it's a double.
Yeah.
It says dupe on it.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
say two.
How does
So-
that count across like PSK on digital mode?
Different-
Are allowed.
Different modes are considered different contacts. So you can work the same person on 20 meters on CW, digital, and voice.
Yep.
Those are all 3 different
But
contacts.
that's like PSK and RTTY. It doesn't count.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. Digital, CW,
I wouldn't
voice.
be involved in it.
So theoretically, you could work the same person like almost 30 times with all the different bands and all the different modes. You can work the same call sign like
10,
30 different
15,
times.
20, 40, 80. I don't think we're going to have 160 already.
Anything's possible.
It's 15 then if you do
Yeah.
10 through.
Well,
And-
we have the exact
And
number.
one good thing about using this, which we've kind of had some issues in the past, you don't have to keep a hold of paper logs. You don't have to worry about losing a sheet or someone's
Gonna
going to
fix all that.
It's so much better.
Not only that, but the neat thing is we'll also either have a projector or a big TV set up that you maybe you're going to be working the station here in a few minutes and you're just kind of wanting to get caught up to speed, or if the public coming out saying, I wonder how many contacts they made. We'll have a TV. We'll actually display the live data of how many contacts we've made, the different statistics on how many bands we've worked, all that kind of stuff. So you can just go to this TV and say, man, we've done 1,231 contacts in the last 2 hours. That's crazy good. So it's going to be.
Really high.
Yeah,
We
it's
won't
gonna
turn
be
the
really
TV on until we get past 100.
Yeah.
When it says 0, no one's looking at it.
Yeah.
Come on. I guess I'll be supplying the TVs, right? So
Yes.
I've got
You got like 10 of them, right? We got 10. So.
I've got at least 3 that I know of.
Yeah.
A magnetron, please.
A magnetron.
Magnetron.
No,
Oh, no, I don't have that.
one of like the big TVs at the sports
Stadiums.
arena.
No, we don't have
Yeah,
that.
no. Those are,
Maybe-
You're not gonna flash it on the big screen at hand?
those take forever to sit. I have a projector that we may try to use, but if it's super bright that day and you can't see it, then we'll use it.
Yeah. I have TVs. We'll make it.
So,
Okay, how do we tell, when we're making contacts, how do we tell the difference in contesters and non-participating, just people?
so you get into a couple of things with this that it comes with experience, and that's what part of this is to get a bunch of people who don't have any experience, and that's going to be taught by the people who do have experience. So there's just kind of a little bit of keeping your ear out for things. So call signs, people at the beginning get overwhelmed with call signs. As they're sitting down, they're like, what was this full call sign? Can you say that again? It takes a little bit of training to start recognizing those. We try to, most everybody does it phonetically, so Whiskey 0, Echo Bravo, Echo, you can figure that out pretty quick. Some of it's going to be, especially at night, dialing in a little bit, using the filter to try to clear them up. So the basic answer to that is that most everybody that you're going to run into is probably going to be doing this contest. I would say this is probably the biggest active contest of the year. I mean, it's just everybody's out there.
It's the biggest.
The bands are super crowded. Like to find a little sliver of 4 kilohertz to be able to operate in is just, it's hard. So I wouldn't worry about that. Would be the simple answer. Everybody's probably going to be doing it.
That would
Not-
be-
Basically, if you work them, they count.
And we can work
Yeah,
you.
yeah, they don't have to be doing the contest for them to count in our log, but you'll find that most everybody you talk to is also probably doing the contest.
Yeah, so I mean, you can call us from your station at home, and we can make you basically consider
We-
contact.
So there's-
one F,
No
isn't that what it is at home?
Yeah, there are some legalities that have to
No
rule.
self-spotting.
If you're at home planning to come to field day, you can't do a contact at home to get us a point and then come work a station at field day. And we also can't do repeater contacts. So we can do VHF that's radio to radio simplex,
That's
but
gotta
we
be
can't do,
simplex.
yeah,
Also
we
can't do
repeater.
cell spotting, so you can't say what band do you want.
Forget what I said, Bill.
So you can't call on the repeater and go, oh, is Jordan, where's he at? You're not allowed to do that.
Well, I knew the repeater thing.
Now, at the end of the day, if you're not planning on coming at all because you're just going to be too busy, you know just 100%, and you want to get on and try simplex, you know, if you send somebody a text message, there's not going to be some hard and fast rules with that, but you can't, hey, I'm coming in, I'm going to call you in my vehicle, and I'm going to be there to work at station also. We can't do that. So if you know you're not coming, throw us a text. Might have it just for fun, just see if we can do it, but yeah.
Well, we're going to get all of our, everything together. We're going to have Facebook live feeds go on throughout the day. We're going to have YouTube throughout the day. So if you're not following at least that, you'll know kind of an idea of what we're doing, because we can tell you, oh, well, we're currently on this frequency, and then you can actually pick up on it, if that's something you want to do. But we want to try to make this as much of an event for, people who can't make it too. If anything, you can come back and we, live through our experiences online, I guess is the best way to put it. But we want to make sure that there's a very strong presence online. And anything that you do related to Field Day, just make sure you use the hashtag ARRLFD, and that will allow that to kind of coincide with everything.
Well, also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe what Patty had said was if you use that hashtag, it automatically posts to the official ARR Field Day.
Well, it just makes it so it's tied to it. Yeah. Any other questions, folks?
Any thoughts? Anything you'd like to see at Field Day that maybe we haven't talked about? Any questions about just kind of Field Day-ish questions? How many RV spots are there? All that kind of stuff.
Have we sent out written press releases to the media, because we get points for that?
Yes, we are already working on that. And the nice thing about it is most of those are, they don't have to publish it or put it on TV. It's the attempt to do so. So as long as we send a letter, and I've got some kind of proof that happens,
I
then
imagine a lot of them, it's a slow weekend,
yeah,
they're gonna want some
Possibly.
news.
that's what we're working on. So
We're
we've
hoping nothing major.
We've kind of been in this transition from Patty to Wes for the PIO, and they're kind of both working together on getting that accomplished.
Just wanted to make sure.
Probably
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
be a CNN van or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But we might get KY3
We could.
That's usually what happens, but the problem is they don't put it on until like 11 o'clock at night.
Well, then let's keep coming.
Any other questions about Field Day? Comments, concerns, stuff you'd like to see?
I'm assuming you're all set antenna-wise, marker-wise, and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're pretty much good to go. We're still figuring out some coax here and there to make sure that what we have works. But we basically, so the three stations, you've got my station, which is the 5,000, that's going to be primarily 20 meters, and then during different times we switch to 40. You've got Rodney's 950, which is going to be primarily 40, switching to 20 sometimes, so we'll kind of go back and forth. And then you've got Wes's radio, that's the third station, it's going to be primarily 10 and 15, and then if somebody really wants to get brave, go down to 80 on it. So those will be the bands that we're primarily working on. The antennas, I'm going to have an inverted L on the 5,000, and that one will have an amplifier, so we'll be doing about 800 watts on that one, PPP. And then the 950, you're also going to have an inverted L. And then the third station is going to have a beam, a 10, 15, 20 beam. And we have a second beam that we can hook up. So if somebody's like, hey, I want to work the primary station, but I want to work a beam, let's just take California, we can hook it up real quick and do that. But that's pretty much the way it's laid out unless somebody wants to go different.
What does go to get? Or VHF?
VHF is going to be a beam that you are going to be working on this week to get that fixed up, and the go-to station is to be determined. We're either going to use the beam, and if it's not being used anywhere else, or we also have a couple fan dipoles, stuff like that we'll be working on. So, and we should have coax for everything. That would be the one thing I would say, that if we do run short of anything, it will probably be good coax.
What band is the VHF?
6 and 2. I would say primarily 2 because that's the beam we've got. However, we've got a couple options for 6.
It's primarily going to be 6.
Oh, you think it's primarily 6?
We'll have band openings in 6. And
Okay.
Usually, field day just opens to them. I don't know what it
Is the beam you've got 200 or is it 62?
Only 6, and then
Oh,
I've
okay.
got a to-be put-together 2-meter beam. It's not gonna be a big one, I mean, I've got a 14 element, but, you know, if it works, yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
thing. But I'll have its own support for it, and, you know, somewhere close to where he's gonna be set up,
Okay.
since his video, right? the
Yeah.
video. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so primarily 6 with a beam, and the option most likely for a 2-meter with a beam, just, you know, you're just gonna have some luck on that one.
I've never personally seen 2 open up.
Yeah,
I mean, if you do
I
like
mean-
FTA, like something.
yeah.
on
I mean, I'm gonna try and see if we get anything.
I tried
2 meter
160
single
last
sideband,
year.
but if 6 is where it's at.
Yeah.
6 is
I mean,
what
at
we'll
2
do.
or 3 o'clock last year in the morning, I switched over to 160, got tuned up, and was on there for 20 minutes trying to make contacts. I don't think I ever got anybody to come back to me.
Nobody came back.
Made several on 80. Wasn't as much as 20 and 40, but we got some.
2 years ago, when the whippoorwill woke me up at 3 a.m., 80 was perfect. And I had a broadside dipole east and west, and I just basically worked to the west coast as the sun came up. And at the end, I mean, it was all California stations, one right after the next. And I
Well-
probably made 35, 40 contacts
Yeah.
just playing around.
Well, probably about 9 p.m. I'll switch over to 80 meters if nobody else is on it and get the 3916 group to all come back and, you know, get some people in there. There you go.
They don't have an active net on Saturday, do they? They just have.
It's an unofficial, nobody's quite directing it, but Pete is usually there and they usually still do trivia and stuff like that, so I usually try to get down there anyway. Pete owes us one anyway. Canberra this year was a little off, so, yeah.
Yeah, you never did tell us about that.
Canberra was fun. The only problem with it is so,
What is this off the air?
yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. Anybody have any other questions about field day before we go off of live streaming? And thank you to the 4 people who joined us.
Me, you, Cam.
Yeah, probably everybody sitting in this room.
Patty.
So, oh, Patty, yeah, hi Patty.
The thing is, that we're doing our best to, I mean, the reason we did this committee is so that we can accommodate everything. I know we're not gonna probably be able to accommodate everyone.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do our best to try to make that possible, you know, in the future as well. But this is a learning experience for all of us. And so, you know, we just wanna make sure that everybody understands that we've done what we can to try to accommodate everyone and everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and we, you know, we apologize if we left anybody out, anything like that. We want to make sure that this is coordinated so that when we go to the ARRL, we can say, yes, we can officially say this is the contacts we got. It was just a little bit of the Wild West in years past, and we just couldn't get everything together to really know how many contacts we did. So, learning experience, like Rodney said. After this, we'll have a review. We'll probably keep the committee together to start planning next year's, you know, so we have even more time. So we'll take questions, comments, all that kind of stuff afterwards, after field day. If anybody who says, hey, really would have been good to have this, let us know, because that's the only way we can make it better. But I think we've got a good base to work on. So if nobody has any other questions or anything, I think we'll close it out and probably just do a little bit of a quick rundown to the end of it.
Yeah, so, yeah, as far as that's concerned, we want to thank everyone who joined us. If you want to listen to us later or follow up with what we've done, I did my best to put most of the answers that was answered in live here on there, so if you missed those questions, we can also look at that too. So, other than that, we just had one person check in right at the end. So, well, and I think we just got dropped. Did you disconnect?
I just shut it down. Now, it'll remain on there, so I mean, the chat, the comments will be on there. I did also film it, so maybe a higher quality video will be on YouTube.
Okay.
As soon as I can get it uploaded.
Oh, And just so everybody knows, please buy raffle tickets. There's a lot of good prizes this year. This stuff is not cheap stuff. That Fallon is $130. The coax is, don't even ask. It's good quality, thick as your